Good morning. Let's get this straight. There we go. Good morning. Running a little late. Everything's just giving me a couple little difficulties, but no way, no how will I not be presenting our Circle of Success series module today under our Wednesday Women webinars. And I'm excited. I've been telling you every time I'm so excited about this series and the information that I like sharing with you and providing you with such valuable resources and just a way of being able to complete certain aspects of your own circle of success. And that's why I developed this because I'm so excited about sharing my knowledge and not only my circle of success that I believe I have obtained, but in giving back to you so that you can develop your own circle of success as you go forward, not only with where you're at right now, but also your future. And it's so important to, regardless of what age you are, what level you are in your life, to always be looking forward to the possibilities of what you can accomplish every day that you're on this earth. And so that's why I do this. I'm doing this series and I look forward to it every single week. So we always start out with our initiative, and that is to do invest in yourself, do learn new skills, do be empathetic, and do help others. And I always encourage you to take notes. Definitely take notes. So, in review, we learned how to determine your worth, how to identify your value. We completed our personal and professional SWOT, additional SWOT analysis resources. We discussed branding, and we also did that under a professional as well as a business level. And we also created a business SWOT analysis along with those resources. So if you missed any of the previous shows, just let me know. And I'll send you the links to the actual broadcast that we record live on our YouTube channel as well as on our T-Bird Live web a Facebook channel as well. So you don't, if you missed any, it's no problem. We can bring you right back to go right back to where we were and bring you current with all of our broadcasts that we've done. So looking forward to anyone that missed it, helping you with getting on current and also sending you out the workbook materials that go along with the broadcast. You have to email, those are invitation only, and you have to email us at trinabird@tbirdcenter.com, and I will send you out. You register, and I'll send you out the packet of information. So, this is where we are with our circle of success. We have completed the worth, the value, and the brand. And now we're going to go into the self assessment segment. Typically, we self assess ourselves to determine our assets. In this process of the circle of success, we will identify what is missing to achieve the level of success we are reaching for. So, therefore, your assets minus your missing assets create require you to create your self assessment, because this area of missing assets, you want to eliminate that. You want to get rid of that because they are deducting themselves from your actual assets. So if you have strong education, you have strong experience, but yet the career you want requires you to go from a master's degree to a doctorate or a specific credential, then those are missing assets. Even though you have a strong set of assets, you still have missing assets. And in order to determine what they are, you have to do a self assessment. And I cannot tell you how important it is to self-assess yourself to determine exactly where you are on all levels, your personal life, your professional life, as well as your business life. So, in the previous modules, we used the job description to identify the strengths as part of creating your value. Now, we will use the same job description to identify any item listed that you do not have. So, I had you in the previous module go to ZipRecruiter and pull up 3 job descriptions that allowed you to determine and create. You actually created a worksheet and you took those 3 job descriptions and identified each one of the requirements that were for that job description for 3 different companies, which were enabling you to build a solid foundation for what is required for that position, which enables you to determine what your career requirements are as well. And so that's the first step. So definitely use ZipRecruiter or some other program or software or website that you are familiar with that will give you samples of what companies are looking for when they hire for that position or that career that you want. That's so important because that's going to give you the answer. You have to know what they're looking for and what those resources and assets need to be in order to get that job. So that's the best way to find out what they are. And job descriptions tell a lot. And in the previous module, we took you to ZipRecruiter. We showed you, how you get set up an account there, and you don't even have to set up an account. Actually, you could just go in and search for that particular job, and it'll give you the job description. And from that, you build your credential requirements in order to get that job. Second, you're going to identify any item listed that you don't have, such as experience, the credential, the education, as I previously stated, because here you may determine that what you thought the job required may have changed since the pandemic, or what you thought should have been the requirement was based on an old job criteria. Maybe the industry has changed in such that you need to up your skill level, experience level, and it may now require credentials that not were required maybe 5 years ago. So in doing a self-assessment for career, professional, business, any of those areas, you want to do the research to determine what is required for that particular position that you're applying for or that business you're about to enter, and any professional level that you need. You may want to be a person that serves on multiple boards where you're paid. They may be some requirements that you have to have in order to become a board member. And for most of us, we volunteer our time. But if it's a paid board that you want to get access to, because it increases your credentials, it increases your um, overall career portfolio because someone's looking to you for expertise by sitting on their board. And it could be a small board. It doesn't have to be a big corporation. It could be a small board where they give you like a small stipend, but it enhances your credentials, it enhances your portfolio to the degree that, that's just an asset when you're trying to further your career or your business concept. And so there may be some credentials that are required for those types of volunteer or paid board positions. And then, of course, if you're looking to advance from maybe management into the executive realm, and those are positions that require additional credentials, and the many certifications that you may obtain along the way are only going to be those assets. So I don't think that you should self assess yourself just to get a job or start the business or enhance in the career. You should probably assess it on an annual basis or maybe every 2 years just to see how the industry has changed and what the new requirements are. And with the way that technology is changing every single day, it is changing the criteria for that industry you want to be in and specifically to the job that you want in that industry. And then the third step is to add them to your assessment checklist so that you not only can determine what is needed, you can also check off what you have and what you need to get. And you will get definitely the workbook and worksheets that go along with these self-assessment steps. Here's a sample self-assessment checklist where we determined from a job description that it was a requirement for an administrative position in the technology field that you needed to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree, knowledge of Microsoft Office. Now, knowledge doesn't necessarily mean that you know what it is, meaning knowledge that you have experience and you can get any task done using any one of the software programs that make up Microsoft Office. And although I don't have it on this checklist, Google G Suite is also becoming very prominent in the business world. And so you definitely may want to consider that as well. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there so that we can recognize that G Suite, which is a Google product. And I'll go ahead and put that in there because it is definitely doing some big strides now, especially with the pandemic and companies trying to do a lot of work from home, and everyone doesn't have a computer. They may be using their personal computer to do their job, and everyone doesn't have an official version of Microsoft Office. So companies are leaning towards using Google's G Suite because it is free. In addition to your sample self-assessment checklist, they may be looking for 2 to 3 years experience. You may only have 1 year of experience, and you may get the job because your education may qualify you for, you know, an additional, if you've been recently trained, that may qualify you in exchange for the experience because now you've been recently trained and you know the newest technologies and the newer responsibilities that are needed for a position. However, if you get the job, you still want to obtain that experience and give the job, a little bit of longevity so that you leave there with at least a minimum of 2 years if you only had 1 year of experience. Strong communication skills, you're going to find that in any avenue that you go down. People want you to be able to communicate, articulate, and get people's attention, whether it be to obtain a customer, do a presentation before your peers, your board members, your staff, your executive board, being able to communicate on a strong level and people understand what you're saying and they're comfortable and you're inviting. So you may want to take a communications class. And if you think you need that skill and it's a requirement and it's missing from your career portfolio, definitely take a class that's hands-on, where it's interactive and you actually get to demonstrate or apply what you learn in the class, as well as get some type of credential from it. A lot of companies and even all assets of the business world are looking for virtual experience. Uh, Last year, this time, it was nice to have it, but it was not mandated or a requirement. Today's climate, virtual experience, meaning that you know how to use Zoom, you know how to use platforms like StreamYard, you know how to do meeting software programs like Google Meets and things like that. So you got to have that virtual knowledge and experience. And I think I'm going to go in here and update this to knowledge and experience, because even if you know how to use it, you're probably going to want to also have a little bit more experience in maybe like Zoom, setting people up into groups and being able to use the chat features and upload files and share files. So you definitely have to have that knowledge and experience in order to compete in today's world. And lastly, but not only, uh, strong time management. And these are just some of the assessments that people are looking to see if you have when you do the interview, what you put on your resume, your bio for a business contract, whatever it is that you are obtaining to, trying to do, you need to make sure that these are some of the attributes that you need to have experience and knowledge of. And I just gave you a sample of an assessment checklist. And if these appear on a job description or a contract requirement and you don't have them, then you need to get them. So a positive self-assessment will improve your worth, your value, and your brand, all of which we have created and identified in the previous modules. And that's why I started out with the circle of success circle with your worth and your value. And then we moved on to brand. And now that we have identified what our worth is and our value and what our brand should look like, now we have to assess ourselves to see if we can meet those requirements, if we actually meet the need for where we're going. And we need to make sure that we have a roadmap of exactly where you are going in terms of your goals and to complete your circle of success. So in completing a self assessment, the results will give you the tools needed to create your vision for your future goals and how you will accomplish them. In the sample assessment checklist, it was determined what was needed. Your remaining steps will be to identify how you will obtain those missing assets and then consequently develop your self-assessment implementation plan. And what does that implementation plan look like? Well, you need to be able to first, as we have identified, what those missing assets are. Then when you actually create your assessment implementation plan, you're going to answer the questions of how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, and what your implementation timeline is going to look like. Because let's say that, and we'll go back to our sample, that you need that bachelor's degree. Maybe you only have an associate's plus a Microsoft Office certification, but they're requiring you a bachelor's degree. That may take 4 years, 2 more years to get. And in some cases, it may take 3 years. So when you create that implementation plan, you're going to identify how you're going to get that bachelor's degree, when you're going to be completed with the degree, and then how you're going to implement the plan of action to get the job, which may no longer be available with the company that you originally wanted to apply to or be hired to. And so, therefore, you have to create a new implementation plan of how you're going to complete your circle of success by implementing a plan of action now that you have that bachelor's degree. Now, obviously, if you wanted to get more experience with Microsoft Office or Google Suite, that's like you could do that in a week. So then the implementation plan will drastically change because those are immediate, you can get immediate results. But you need to know how you're going to implement that into the whole entire picture of where you're going with your circle of success. So it may just be updating your resume, updating your bio, um, actually creating a sample portfolio to demonstrate that you do know how to use these programs efficiently and effectively. And especially if you're in business, you'll be implementing these procedures into your daily operations. And that will partially be meeting that requirement for the contract that you're trying to obtain. If it's a career, then obviously you're going to want to demonstrate your skills at the interview because in most cases, these companies are testing you now to see if you do have that skill set that you say you do on your resume. So you can actually be ahead of the game, put on your implementation plan that you have a project that you would like to demonstrate in the interview. Most interviews are done now virtually. So you can actually play a quick video of a project that you created from start to finish, and that will demonstrate how you are able to not only utilize the software, but how you can implement a major project for the company you're trying to work for. So that implementation plan is very critical, very critical. Strong communication skills. You may want to determine on your implementation plan by writing some documents that will, be of help in your interview, such as, like a press release or something in regards to an advertisement or a commercial for the company or something that will impress the interviewer. Now, if it's the business side, then definitely that you're going to be um, using those communication skills, like for your marketing and your advertising. So you have to have strong marketing and advertising. So in your implementation plan, you will identify all those advertising and marketing tools that you will have to create for your business or revise for your business in lieu of the pandemic, and how you have to change the way you actually try to obtain customers now because of COVID-19. And your implementation plan should identify those changes that you're going to make, as well as how you're going to implement them once you make the changes. So again, that implementation plan is so important. And I don't like to give away the next subject, but we will be talking about next week how to implement your self-assessment checklist, and we will want you to have completed your self-assessment checklist. So you have to get that blank form from us by emailing me at trinabird@tbirdcenter.com, and I'll send it out to you so that not only can you complete it, but you could do the necessary work that requires you to have positive a positive self-assessment, because it's not just identifying what your missing assets are, because it's great to know what they are, but if you're not working towards how you're going to fill in those blanks, it doesn't matter how or what they are if you're not going to solve the problem. Because again, I cannot tell you how important it is to understand what your worth, your value, and your brand is. And all of this is encompassed through self-assessment, as well as determining who and what you can charge for your business, what you will take for the job offer, and then how you will negotiate and counter offer to a person that's offering you less than what your value is and what your worth is, and pointing out what your brand is. And because you know what your positive assessment results are, whatever minuses that you have, you've addressed them. So you're ready and able to let that individual know this is who you are and what you're capable of doing. And it'll articulate out of your mouth so fluently because you've done the work to determine what those things are. And if you know what they are, they don't leave you because you've put them down on paper. They're a part of you and you remember it, and you're really able to articulate exactly what those attributes are that make anyone wanting to hire you for a contract or for employment. So it's just so important. So you definitely want to make sure, and I'll review real quick what those steps are. You want to go and find out at least 3 job descriptions from ZipRecruiter or Monster.com or any uh, job search program that is available to you. And you may even, if you're working and you want to expand, ask to get a copy of your current job description. Identify as many of the assets and things that you have actually accomplished with that job description for the company you now work for. That only works and helps you when it's time for a raise. If all the requirements for that job description are being done by you, then they either have to increase the job requirements so that they can match the salary that you're looking for, or you can explain to them you're really good at what you do, and so therefore you need to be paid more because they work without you. Could the company not fold, but could it miss the contributions that you make on a daily basis? And if you've been improving over each month, quarter, year, that's of value to the company, and they need to pay you for it. But you cannot go and sit and ask for a raise if you don't know your worth, your value. And the only way you can determine all of that and be confident in it is if you assess yourself. And that self assessment is so important. Even if you don't have a job, even if you're unemployed because of COVID, do this self assessment now so you could determine what you need to be able to accomplish for that job. And what better time to do it than now because you are laid off, you have the time. There's so many free resources out here where you don't have to pay. You can tune into these types of broadcasts where you can learn how to do things. And of course, we got the good old YouTube channel, which tells you how to do all kinds of things. You can take a course on YouTube that may be $2,000 or $3,000 if you do the right research and search the right modules to see, map it out, implement your, put together an implementation plan to get that training done. Or you could take advantage of the free training grants that the T-Bird Center offer so that you can get those skill sets that you need in order to fulfill your positive self-assessment and in turn reach your goals for your circle of success. Secondly, in review, identify any of those items that you don't have. Identify all items that you don't have. Identify what you don't have that you see a coworker that is good at that you don't know how to do. Let's say they're working in QuickBooks and you don't know how to use QuickBooks, but yet that position may be a position that you can expand upon if that person leaves. Well, now you've got your QuickBooks certification and training, so now you can jump into that position. So you've got to identify what you don't have as part of your self-assessment in any arena that you're in. And it could be your personal life as well. If you go and get your health report and you realize that your levels are up in terms of your cholesterol and your high blood pressure, you know, do a self-assessment, see what kind of foods you're eating, see what kind of foods you should be eating, and then create your implementation plan so that you can change and improve your health. Take a look at, self-assess your exercise regimen. Are you getting the exercise that you need? Those are personal self-assessments. Then you have your professional self-assessment. You may not, be in the job that you want, but the job that you do want, those are your professional self-assessments. Find out what it's going to take to get to that job that you do want. And then you have your career, which is the job that you do have. Are you at the top level of where you should be in order to get that raise? Self assess it. Determine whether or not you are meeting it. Don't wait for your boss to come and tell you at your annual review, oh, you know what? You don't have these credentials. We can't really give you an increase in your rate, salary. You haven't met some of the benchmarks that we've set for you. You haven't done this, you haven't done that. They do that automatically. They're going to tell you what you're not doing just so they don't have to give you a raise. Those are career assessments. Look at your career, what you've been doing in that job. See how well you're doing by self-assessment. If you feel like you need a third party response, then go sit down with your boss and say, look, I self-assess myself in this job. I'd like you to take a look at it and give me your input. Is there anywhere that I need to improve so that when my annual comes up, I can get that raise or I can get that promotion? Career self-assessment, so important. Personal self-assessment, so important. You can't excel at your job or your career if your health is bad. And then there's your professional. People tend to think that their career and their professional assessment or their professional is the same as their career. It could be in some cases, but in many cases, you're in a job you don't like. That's not your career choice. You're just doing it because you need to make money, or you did it because it was relative to what the demand was. But now that demand is slowing down, and you need to find a career oriented profession that'll allow you to be more secure in the job that you have. So separate that career assessment from your professional assessment. And then you might even want to think about starting your own business. That's another self-assessment for your business. Where do you want to be in the first 90 days of your business versus the first year and the first 5 years and 10 years? I've been in business for 30 plus years, and every year I assess it myself to see where I want to go and what I want to do. And I actually create my business plan, which is not something that people tend to do. They usually do a business plan when they start the business and then stop. No, your business plan should be every year, just like you do a personal plan that you want to accomplish for the year, things you want to buy, things you want to obtain. You should do that for your business as well. So definitely, in review, I've given you more nuggets, more information on how to do your self-assessment. And again, you need to do the self-assessment not only for your personal, but your career and your professional and your business. And then create your and once you identify those missing assets, then create your self-assessment implementation plan. And there you have it. That's our topic for today under our Circle of Success Wednesday's Women webinar series. And so excited that we are bringing this to you every single week so you can build your complete circle of success. And then not only will you have all the tools that you need to implement, but you will have made such progress at the end of the series Circle of Success, that will have already enhanced things in your life that you need to and always wanted to do. And I'm excited to be the person that brings you that information. And remember, knowledge is useless without good execution. Knowledge is useless without good execution. And I always want to let you know that the broadcast is brought to you by Ask Trina, T-Bird Live, and T-Bird Live with Rick Z every single week. It takes a lot of effort and work that I put into, developing this series and conducting this broadcast. And I do it because I want to share my knowledge and my experience and hopefully help the next person that is in their early 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe even somebody in their 60s or 70s that want to do something different before the end of their professional and business life. So remember, tune in on Tuesdays for Tech Tuesdays with Trina. Wednesdays is Women Webinars. Thursdays is Business and Career Tips that'll be hosted by Rick and Trina. That is an hour show, whereas Tuesdays and Wednesdays shows or broadcasts are only 30 minutes. And I am already 3 minutes past my time, but I definitely look forward to your questions for our WWW Wednesdays Women webinars. Send your questions to AskTrinaB@gmail.com, or you can call me at 609-484-9356, and I'll be glad to discuss any topic that you want to assist you in your circle of success, in your career, your professions, your professional life, your business life. It doesn't matter. I'll be glad to donate my time to assist you in improving any aspect that you need assistance in. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Rick will be on, and we'll be bringing you the latest not option, but our latest take on the news. Try to keep it non-political, but it never happens. We're going to talk about those kinds of things, and I got some great business and career tips to round it all out. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, 10 a.m. live on T-Bird Live at Facebook.